Hello, my name is Tim Curtis from Intensive Engagement. Today I'm going to give you a short presentation to give you the background to locally identified solutions and practices, which is the package of training that we undertake with police forces and communities as part of the Intensive Engagement package. If we think about the history of the police, we can look back to Robert Peel as Home Secretary in the 1820s, and of his principles, this one I think stands out most strongly. This idea that police are the public and the public are the police, and this gives us a really good basis on which to make sure that we are focused on collaborating with the public. But also that the public themselves, the communities, are participating in their public safety as well. It's not just something that police have to do on behalf of the community, but the community are creating community welfare and existence together. So what we want to do is to give a bit of background on why we are going about this LISP, this Locally Identified Solutions and Practice package, to think about the pressures on contemporary neighbourhood policing. Andy Myhill wrote this when the NPIA, the National Policing Improvement Agency, existed back in 2006, but it was also republished in 2012, gives us the context for the way in which community engagement and working in neighbourhood policing was being considered even a decade or more ago. And it hasn't changed, which is why in 2012 it gets repeated, and in the most recent texts it gets repeated again. This observation from Andy Myhill, engagement and consultation with communities, which is a statutory duty by the way, was predominantly focused on public meetings. Local priorities were based on concerns of a small and unrepresentative part of the community, and some hard-to-reach groups in these areas reported that neighbourhood teams did not engage with them. That didn't mean that neighbourhood teams were not trying to engage with them, it just meant that they were very, very difficult, which is why they're called hard-to-reach or hard-to-hear groups. But what tends to happen is that we put a lot of effort into creating surgeries and public meetings, town hall meetings and stuff like that, and the same few people turn up with the same issues and same misunderstandings of what is actually going on in public safety terms in a particular neighbourhood. And then we're obliged to go out and ask the general public about their priorities or problems. And this is also, even if it's done by survey, often is unrepresentative. There's bias in the data towards certain types of people, and all the different parts of the community are not represented in those investigations. And then policing resources are allocated according to the opinions, often uninformed opinions, of a relatively small part of the community.